mention anxiety. It's interesting, the word that's translated as anxiety is merimnao, which comes from two Greek words, meros, which means to divide, and nous, which means mind. So it is a divided mind. That's at the center of this problem. We have God's promise, we believe it, but boy, are we distracted to the extent that we no longer look to the promise. So I think that's the fundamental challenge. If we were to boil it down, we need to ask God to help us concentrate upon his presence, his promises, and walk with him imperfectly as we do. But as for the quotes you read, we're in this place in which each day we have all these reminders of how we're inadequate. And I think it does lead us to one of two extremes. One is we give up. That's the first example. You say we just don't care about embodying and proclaiming Christ. Or we, on the other hand, can care about it, but feel like there's no way we can possibly do the things God has called us to do. And so, the first error is one of disinterest, and the other one is of discouragement. And I think this is where the reminder of the church through the centuries is so crucial. We have this notion of the apostles and these great saints through the ages who just kind of like hovered above the troubles of life to do God's will, right? And it's so helpful to read biography, read the book of Acts, and realize it was in the midst of struggle and strain, of turmoil, of life and death threats, that God showed up to empower his people. In Rome, I went to the Mamertine prison, which is where we believe Paul and Peter, maybe Paul, were kept. That's where Paul would have written 2 Timothy. It's dreadful. You got the sewer system running right by. You're in this lower cavern. They send you through a hole in the ground. I mean, there's everything about this place screams desperation. And then you read 2 Timothy, and Paul talks about finishing the race, what he's looking forward to in glory. How do you do that? I'll tell you how you do it. You do it by keeping the presence and promise of God before you. That is the reality that informs your identity and calling. And so, I think it comes down to that simple truth. And if we can encourage one another to live that way, we'll be better equipped to deal with anxiety.